Hey everybody, it's Matt, Dyan, and welcome back to Ok Aussie. Bit of a serious conversation today, and this is about the decline that I'm seeing from Dyan because of her seizures. And I thought we'd have a conversation because it's becoming more topical. This week we have your regular primary care physician that we're seeing, and this is going to be top of the list as part of the conversations. Top of the list, because this has been going on for a little bit too long. Whilst we're waiting for neurology at the hospital to get their act into gear.
A bit slow.
Wait till slow. Now, for those who are new to the channel, hi, welcome.
Hi.
Dyan does have a degenerative condition, chromosomal disorder called 22q11.2 Deletion Syndrome. It's where she's missing parts of the long arm of the 22nd chromosome, causing 40 to 60 genes to just simply not be there. That affects about 200 different parts of her body functioning. And that's part of the causation of why she has genetic seizures, autism, ADHD, OCD, Tourette's.
The list is long.
A long list. Now, if you go back and don't forget to subscribe, you'll see a lot of this play out.
Diagnosed in reverse.
Yes, that's actually a good comment, because 22q is an umbrella term for all these separate diagnoses.
Catch 22.
Funny about that, that's the nickname for 22q. And with that, we have seen, in talking about the neurological side of things, a lot of things going on for almost 10, actually more than now.
Yeah, it's
10
gone
years.
over
Now, I would consider one seizure bad enough. Apparently. And Don's got several different types.
500 something.
We're now clocked over. If you've got a tally going on, this is where NASA says, Houston, I think we have a problem. All right. And the reality is, apart from the basics of myoclonus seizures and absent seizures, Dyan's getting focal aware seizures, but the tonic-clonic seizures,
they're the bad ones,
really worry me, because it's
a
doing
lot.
something. Now, empirically,
I know it is.
how do I measure that? I live with Dyan. I've been with Dyan for 33 years, so I do know her absolutely intimately.
Yeah, how my behaviour,
And
personality,
know how
I
behaviour,
react to things.
personality, capacity,
And I said to
memory,
him,
executive functioning.
yeah, I brought it up,
all
didn't
these
I?
things. Yeah.
I said, I said, please
Yep.
look into me. I'm not myself anymore. And
No,
I
you're
was
not.
too emotional to go there, so I just kind of handed it to him.
Yeah. Now I haven't been putting this off. That's, in fact, it's actually forefront. Well, it's actually been the forefront of conversations now for over 2 years.
Yes.
Okay, it's in all the written submissions to whether it's the Health Minister, Jade Sanderson, the Health Department for WA, the hospital, all of those ones.
Yeah.
It's been communicated. So there is concern. Now I have bad enough concerns when it comes to tonic-clonic seizures because of, what's happening if there's not enough oxygen getting to Dyan's brain? What if the seizure, particularly, and this is a really bad one, it's the staphylococcus. This is a rolling seizures.
I've had that
in and out. Oh my goodness me.
But basically, I am now begging for help now. I said that to him because I am seeing a different me that I thought was temporary. I thought I've had bad seizure recently, which is always the case.
Bad seizure recently. Yeah.
It'll shake itself off.
Yeah.
And it's not. And I'm struggling to function, and I was in denial, and I thought if I just make a few changes like my autism, I'll be fine. Nothing's working.
With a complex disorder such as 22q, it is so hard to pinpoint everything that's going on. For Dyan being autistic, having not only interoception but alexithymia, it is so difficult to understand where she's at, how she's feeling,
mental states.
to be able to actually relay that information. I've got to do it on symptomology, what I'm seeing, how she's able to perform, how she's able to interact, if she's able to recall. What happens if she hits a stress state? Executive functioning. Okay.
And it's hard because people expect injuries to be external.
Yeah.
And seizures cause brain injury.
Yep.
And the brain has got a lot of complex parts. It's the most complex organ of your body.
Absolutely.
So basically, they don't know a lot, but they know something. And basically with seizures, it just kind of like fries all these different parts of your brain, depending on, I mean, it could be in certain locations, depending on where your seizures are.
Yeah.
And then it causes side effects, I guess, symptoms, whatever you want to call them. And we have a few which they've mapped out, obviously, over time.
Well, particularly in the status epilepticus, you worry about brain cells dying off.
Yeah.
Okay, that's a resultant of that. Look, seizures themselves have got a risk factor of SUDEP, sudden unexplained death from epileptic seizures. And that's why we're very observant and cautionary around Dyan, and obviously monitoring her very, very closely. The impact of seizures, the more severe the seizure, the impact lasts longer. It's a bit like when we talk about the Todd's paralysis, where things get paralysed for a period of time after a seizure. But sometimes it's 2 or 3 days of legacy post-seizure.
Stuttering,
word finding,
memory.
Yeah, just the retention and recall of memory.
Yeah.
Absolutely. But it's also an emotive state. It affects your emotional level. Irritability, upset.
I get
increases
easily,
anxiety and depression levels of seizures.
Yeah, I guess so.
Well, it does. It's not a guess. It's actually known.
Yeah.
The impact of epileptic seizures upon the body is a contributing factor.
The next day you do get that depression thing.
Correct. Then you've got to look at your autonomic system. So the brain's obviously controlling your body, as we know. Well, your swallowing, your dysphagia gets worse.
It's worse.
It's more choking. Day. Your ability to, converge and actually be able to coordinate your movement, your dyspraxia, you're tripping over, you're falling over more significantly. Yeah. Do you know what I'm saying?
Well, it's a bit like when I did the beach dance.
Yeah.
Walking back, it's a short distance, guys.
50 metres.
Yes. I couldn't walk.
Yeah.
Like, and to explain that, I felt like I had to manually tell my brain how to walk.
Yeah.
And I was grabbing onto things.
Yeah, sure.
And putting one foot in front of the other was more than just, it was like I was walking for the first time, and it's like, right, one foot in front of the other. It's crazy.
So the majority of cognitive problems are influenced by intermittent factors. How early the onset of your epileptic seizures are occurring.
And we don't know that history, actually, guys. So basically,
duration.
I know that my mum was paranoid about seizures from overheating children, babies.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that was due to me or someone else, whether it was my other siblings. But basically, I don't know when this started because I was a neglected child.
Correct.
So I have no idea. I was traumatic at birth, a miracle baby, and with 22q, if you're not aware, you're lucky if you live till 3, and then you're sort of a bit safer after that, but you still got to be kept an eye on. But yeah, I don't know my history.
No, I mean, look,
so I don't know when
about
it truly
13 years
started.
ago, you had the first sort of car incident of the seizure. You haven't
How
driven.
many years ago?
It's about 13 years.
No more.
Is it? Oh God, just in time.
Well, the kids were, no, it's 20 because the kids
ticking past now.
The kids would have been 8 and 10, so it's probably about 18 years.
Yeah, okay, there you go. So
because they're 28 and 30.
We've been so bogged down in this timeline.
28 and 30, sorry, no, 20 years.
Hundreds and
20
hundreds
years ago.
and hundreds of this chronic seizure. Thanks, old woman.
No, but same with me, yeah, I'm old.
I get it.
So it's 20 years. There you go. 20 years since my first seizure.
It was a couple of years ago that we did a neurocognitive psychologist doing a whole bank of 16 plus hours of testing to find that you've got at that point in time mild neurocognitive disorder, prodromal to early onset
dementia. And I'm
dementia.
meant to have it done again, and I'm
and
late.
I think we need to literally just to see
so.
Pre and post testing stage, because anecdotally
I thought I could get away with it.
I'm noting it, I'm seeing it.
Can't.
So the conversation with the primary care physician this week coming up
15 hours
is to flag where we're at, what referrals might be needed, to push along with the neurology team as well, because
them as well.
Sorry, this is ridiculous. From effects on your walking and ataxic
they don't
gait,
care in
balance,
the public
your
system.
Swallowing, your eyesight, like I said,
unless
convergence, your migraines. And you've been dealing with migraines in correlation to this, but even just recently it's been quite severe as well. So many things for us to think about. Now, symptoms post seizure can obviously vary depend on the location where the seizure is occurring, the origin of that, the spread, and then also the intensity of the electrical charges that's going on.
It's been
So that doesn't help. So after the return of consciousness, this postnatal period, you got confusion, but beyond that, there's the fatigue, more fatigue.
Yeah, I've
headache,
had more fatigue.
more headaches. Speech problems have been so noticeable, haven't they?
So basically, yeah, the fatigue.
Yeah.
I have had, like, I'm frustrated. I've got a list of projects.
Things you want to do.
I'm sick of.
And that's upsetting because you're missing out.
I just don't get to sort of say, like other people say, hey, I'm going to have a schedule and Monday to Friday this is how my week's going to be.
Yeah.
I have to play it day by day.
And that's hard when you're interacting with other people or expectations upon you to participate.
Yeah,
to be, in quotation marks here,
people
normal.
generally consider if you don't come. I have like a really lovely social pancake Wednesday and I love it. And I always aim to attend. But I don't get the choice. My body decides. And especially when you're also facing a syndrome that's degenerative and you're at risk of death any day because you're in your 50s and that's the expectancy for it. You want to live life to the fullest. You want to make sure you're out there, you're living, you're experiencing,
but
you're
what's
engaging.
the impact if you push it past that envelope where
I'll just have a
you
seizure.
do have that attendance and you go, oh look, I'm just going to push through because they're going to miss me.
Yeah.
As you say, it's not
I'll
just
have
a seizure. That seizure
then there's
is more aftershocks or more severity or
more fatigue,
again,
more forgetting,
and like
more word finding problems,
absolutely
more
functional
stuttering,
problems.
and even like it's even upsetting because a person here that I was engaging with for a week or so was getting actually mad at me for mistaking her name, and it was explained to her from the beginning.
Yeah.
Please understand, I have a neurological condition due to my seizures. I have genetic seizures, and my brain is going to mush, literally.
I think it's a good term, that mush.
Yeah,
isn't it?
like I'm losing my brain, and she was offended. So I said, "Look, please don't. I get things flipped around, and I'm so sorry because I know that that's not your name, and I have no intention of offending. There's no intent
to upset or offend somebody.
And it's awful because
but
not everyone's going to understand.
But it shows that there needs to be an understanding.
I know.
Or if not, there needs to be a protection of you. And that's why I woke up this morning after quite a significant sort of dream
Yeah,
as
you
well.
had a very significant insight.
Because I'm worried about you. And I'm worried about where you're at and how you're going. And I'm seeing that decline and your inabilities to do certain things and your attempt to push through it. Because there's also that denial.
My denial and my passion for life.
Yeah. You want to be normal, but that does more detrimental damage when you're in that flux state.
I know your mum was the same. She had a zest for life.
Yeah, that's a good word,
even
zest as
through her absolute pain and suffering she would have gone through. Her zest for life rose above it.
Correct.
She was a pillar of strength.
Absolutely. But you can't control, and that was the point of that conversation with that person you're talking about this week.
Yeah.
You can't control what's happening. But like,
no,
and you apologise sometimes on camera when it comes to your speech, your word finding, your slurring, or you're taking your pause to remember where you're at. And that must feel, first of all, uncomfortable for you because you're wanting to create a polished presentation.
I used to be a theatre arts person, so it makes me sad when pronunciation for whether it's singing, whether it's for acting, whether it's just reading a poem is so.
But that reality is like a gut punch when it hits
proper.
you, understanding that hey, these skill sets, these capabilities.
That you spend your
disappearing or
learning.
deteriorating, and there's a regression. You've stated that a few times over this past 6 months of noting the regressions that you're experiencing.
Yeah, with not only autism but just overall.
Yeah. And I guess I've seen more in this last year than ever before of the Tourette's coming through,
and irritation, especially in public. Like I've
Tolerance.
actually lost inhibitions, which is something that I have to talk about not only, I guess, starting off with my general practitioner.
Yeah.
Lisa's a cool dude. I can say anything to him.
Yeah.
But I'm definitely going to have to sit down with my neuropsych and say, I've lost some inhibitions and it could get me into some serious trouble.
It's abnormal behaviour
it's
for
not,
you, from your baseline,
I'm not
from
wanting
who
to
you
be
are.
like that.
Yeah. Now, we've had comments before about not so much the coprolalia, the echolalia, but the coprolalia component.
Yeah,
or
the swearing issue.
Apraxia, where you're,
I hate it when it kicks in.
You
and
don't mean to do that,
yeah,
but that's the thing we're trying to explain. That's why we're here sharing the channel. Following the journey of someone who's got a condition which they were born with, which is out of their control.
I used to get into trouble as a kid.
It's deteriorating. And that's the thing.
saying words and things and phrases. And
you're like a parrot. You echo things that you hear in your environment, sometimes mismatching the inappropriateness of what the situation is. Yeah. But it upsets you because you morally, particularly being autistic, morally of such high standing and righteousness of rules, that upsets you.
I like things to be a high standing towards everyone. Everyone deserves it. Everyone should hold themselves and others to a good standing.
But you know what? When I read the literature,
I agree with the swearing being a little bit much, but I try my best.
But you try your best. You
I fail.
Are failing because it's out of your control. And this is the thing where we need to hold some space for and actually have some acceptance and understanding. This should be expected. Okay, this deterioration in symptoms, it's so well documented. Why the hell was it bloody well not understood and expected and prepared for and even explained to you?
I can see why, because I used to be, especially when I was young, us autistics are so rigid, aren't we? And stubborn. And I used to think, not dementia patients that I worked with, but just I never used to hold space for certain things until I got a lot older, well past 35.
Maturity,
And then I started to look at people that, I'd see an old person at a shop getting irritable, and I'd have such a deep compassion instead of looking at them and going, oh wow,
grumpy old
that's bad behaviour. I'd never sort of go to there because it's an elder, but I would sort of go, oh, that's bad behaviour,
Right.
Now I look at them and I kind of go, their brains are not, that's not them. It's not them. There could be dementia starting.
And you've worked in a dementia unit, so you have got that understanding
the loss of inhibition,
the deterioration, the loss of inhibitions, and changes in behaviour, which is really surprising.
So
it must be difficult for family and friends when you're seeing, or even our subscribers, when you're seeing Dyan in one way, and then the next minute you're seeing a different. Now, we don't put everything out on our channel. It is still a bit of a show reel of the positive, and we want to try and present the positivity of the experiences. But whilst we're also balancing that and interspersing that with education and application. If you don't show certain components, then you have no context to understand what Dyan's going through.
Yeah, we don't want you guys thinking that, this disability life is a romanticised version of it.
No, and we'll show a handful of seizures, for example, to create context of the duration, the intensity, and the pain. But even that, we haven't shown you some of the more intense and more dangerous ones. Dyan suffocating or aspiration, having to be resuscitated.
Or just when you're concerned.
Also, I've got to focus on the patient during that sort of thing. So it's not as if I can hold a camera while, taking a selfie while trying to do that. So there's a reality check that goes with this. Patient is first and always will be for the safety side.
So should we explain some of the symptoms, and I can help explain anecdotally?
Well, we're just going through a few of those. Theory. So you've got the fatigue. You talked about the headaches.
Fatigue is definitely
headaches have obviously
headaches
and that's
definitely
migraine. Speech problems you're explaining.
Yes,
that's
so
word finding,
slurring. Stuttering.
Yes, stuttering's really
so I'm struggling with that, and that it's not really reduced my confidence totally, because in my jobs that I've had in the past, I've had to publicly speak at times. So that's kind of good. And being a YouTuber,
you've got impaired concentration, your ability to focus on tasks.
That's
or
a big
inattentive. So your ADHD has amplifies
I am
on steroids
absolutely.
effectively.
Yeah, like I am absolutely, and I'm actually amazed I haven't been sent into some meltdowns at
Yeah.
times. But basically, concentration is severely bad. I scare myself. I'm doing things like leaving something over there, and I'm like, I didn't put it there, and he's going, you did.
So
And I'm going,
that
no,
concentration
I didn't.
ties directly in with memory, and it's memory recall, short term.
That's what I mean. Like I'll
retention.
start doing a task,
Yeah.
and my concentration on the task gets lost along the way, and it's like, but yet I'm swearing to God, I'm like, I did not put that there. That is rubbish. I didn't put it there.
Yeah.
And I'll like do this, and he'll be like, no, you put it there, and I'm like, no, I did not. I do that, by the way, guys. If I'm like dead
she
set,
does that.
I'm right.
I'm right. Sorry.
So yeah.
But even you were trying to help me.
And
like,
it's frustrating. It's almost like I feel like a sense of panic.
But there is.
You know when you lose your child at the shops?
Yeah.
I'm not kidding,
You're
guys. If you want to feel the intensity of trying to get your brain to work, it's like the experience of when you've lost your child at the shop, and that's that sense of panic.
Yeah.
You start trying to do some processing of the brain, whether it's concentration, word finding, you're stuttering through something and you can't get the word right, you're trying 3 times. You just start to panic or burst into tears.
So there's a few things that have come out of what you've just said, and I totally hear you. You have been on the verge of meltdowns, and when I say on the verge, you've trickled over, and we've had to pull you back a few more times than normal.
Like off
and
the
that's
ledge.
uncharacteristic.
No, not off the ledge, but
your
know what I mean.
executive functioning has absolutely deteriorated. Even a simple task that we're doing today.
Slow down.
Exactly, and I'm hearing that because this is what I'm listening out for, and that's what gives me the information to say, look, you're not coping with that particular task, and it may be a task that you've done many a time beforehand, which you've done extremely effectively and easily.
Who wants to say?
But now is the stress.
Who wants to say to your partner, this simple task here, I can't do, can you please help me?
Yeah. With the...
You don't, trust me. When you're 50, and especially being autistic, I'm sorry, but it took me so long to learn to speak.
Yeah.
It took me so long to executive function.
Yeah.
And to lose those things, it's depressing and scary.
Look, frequent seizures, especially the status epilepticus that you're experiencing, repeatedly cause oxidative stress, neuronal loss, mainly in the hippocampus or the anterior cortex, growth factors such as BDNF and inflammation in the brain. So if epileptic seizures are not properly treated and controlled, they can lead to permanent, and I don't like saying this, but permanent cognitive dysfunction.
I know that already.
So the difficulty with cognition is one of the most common problems with people with epilepsy. It's overlooked. But that's
They
important.
do overlook it. They only look at the, seizures.
Yeah, it's about 70% of people with chronic epilepsy will have cognitive impairment, and you're in that basket.
I'm in that because I've been, like I said, guys, I've been diagnosed with MND.
Yeah.
I'm supposed to get annually checked. I'm late.
Now, the cognitive skills of people with epilepsy may be fully affected or partially affected in individual areas. So, mild apraxia, which is the sustained attention deficit disorder. So, as I was saying about your ADHD being on steroids,
ADHD, and I have admitted that.
Memory impairment,
it's
impaired
bad.
executive
It's
function,
worse.
slowed psychomotor speed.
Now that has happened because being that I used to be very, majority of my life, as I've explained, I think in my, whether you've seen my podcast or not, I don't know, but I think I've explained a lot in there. I, being majority of the time a housewife, very hands-on job. Yeah. Everything's hands-on, and you have to be fast and multitasking, and I was good at it.
Yeah.
And now, none of that. I've lost it all.
Correct.
Just doing resin art. How much of a stress?
Yeah, I have a smirk, but it's simply because it's like it's such a drama.
Thing.
I have to help with so many processes, but now it's like I'm a catch up. I'm ready to go, ready for
to catch cups.
the spill, the mess, or the I can't do this. The stress overload, and it's
I get stressy.
You do. You get
I used
stressy.
to enjoy it, and I'm starting to find it like almost a dread. So I'm not going to stop trying.
Yeah.
Because I'm stubborn, but
and it's
when we
important
go
to
to
do
the next art thing, you will see me stress, and we'll have to work through it.
But it's actually important for you to keep doing. This is like brain training. It's a bit like still doing the budget, or even still doing videos. It's so important for you to keep doing this, because if you stop, you lose it. Okay, and that's what we don't want to do.
I've got a lot of crafty stuff, a lot of puzzles, a lot of things.
Other things that might be fully or partly affected, we're going through, we just talked about psychomotor speed, but impaired naming ability, impaired visual and spatial awareness abilities. Okay.
How many times have I got a bruise and you've said, oh my gosh, that's going to be a big one?
Yeah.
And I'm like, yeah, it is.
Yeah.
And I said, don't worry, I've been doing that a lot. And he's like, but that's not okay.
That's eye-hand coordination. That's zeroing in and focal
How many
on a
times have I
distance.
spilled my drink?
Oh my goodness me.
And this is in a spill-proof cup.
Yep.
Yet I still managed to make the thing fly.
So most cognitive dysfunctions that occur in people with epilepsy are related to the underlying etiology of epilepsy, acquired causes such as injury, so you do have various dislocations and bruises and muscle strains,
and
hypoxia and ischemia, congenital causes, so that's part of your syndrome, of course, but the recurrent and prolonged seizures, it's scaring. I think that's the part that we both have been at for quite a while, hence why the impetus to get help, to work through the health department, which has been frustrating, to get disability advocate and lawyer in place, just simply to assist.
But I just need to go and see the neuropsych, compare it to the last, so compare it to my last test, and hopefully it's, you know, not too much worse, but unfortunately I'm going to admit, being honest here, I actually think just from, even though it's over a year, because, you know, I was meant to go annually, but we've stretched it out a bit, as you can imagine, with all this moving house drama.
We haven't had a break yet.
But I bet you it's going to be quite significant change. Yeah. She's going to describe it as a significant change in just that 1 and a bit year.
Pre and post test.
Yes.
Now, I've seen deficits in learning.
But I didn't expect to go down.
No.
Like, I thought a year after the last test, when she said, oh, we'll see you in 6 months, a year, whatever, I thought I would be like, I'll probably be pretty much the same next year. I didn't think that it would be this progressive.
Sure.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, of course it does.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, as I was just saying, I'm seeing deficits in your ability to learn new tasks, okay?
And that is making me have a spack attack. You know why? I pride myself on being a learner.
Correct. And effective behaviour comes in.
I have been a learner since 1998 when I started my formal tertiary studies with pride, as you guys know my story of coming from illiteracy, non-verbal child to verbal child to literate to going from not only tertiary like college but to university. So I take great pride in what I've done to learn, and now it's just all being crushed by my syndrome.
As you thought. Now, there is memory impairment, anxiety, depression are common in people with temporal lobe epilepsy.
I've had probably more anxiety than depression. Yes, it's affected my mood, but I'm just feeling like more so anxiety. And I don't even know what about. Haven't I? How many times have I said to you, I am so anxious right now and I don't even know what
why,
about.
And you can't point a finger to the actual cause.
Just floating around. My automatic nervous system is just kicking off.
Yeah, and look, it doesn't help too when we have to also increase the ASMs, the anti-seizure medications, that balance point.
But if I can rest, I can get rid of it. Look, it's not the typical anxiety like social anxiety, luckily, so it's a lot easier to deal with. What I find, so just to let you know, if you have a problem, sorry for repeating, that's part of, if you have a problem like me with this, what I do is I just go and rest. I go and watch something on TV for like a set period of time, for 15 minutes or whatever, and just slow my brain down. I'll go on my swing when the weather's better. I will do a simple task and just put my focus on that, and just slow everything down and can go back to something that was obviously that I was doing was complex.
Yep.
I'll go back to it, and and then if it doesn't work again, I go away from it.
I'm just going to read this sentence
Otherwise,
too,
you just stay in that anxiety cycle.
and you can give me some feedback on this. So the second most common form of epilepsy in adults is frontal lobe epilepsy. The frontal lobe primarily supports the functioning of higher level cognitive processes, which include executive functioning and working memory. It also has an effect on motor functions, emotional control, and inhibition. So the structural and functional impairments such as focal onset seizures in the frontal lobe lead to this cognitive and behavioural disorders.
I always cry before my seizure.
Yeah.
Now, guys, that is not a cry as in I'm sooky. And I'm not saying that if someone does get sooky in a seizure,
you're going to be stressed.
It's traumatic. Don't worry about it.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying my crying is neurological.
Yeah.
When I say I don't want to have one, I mean that. But I'm just saying like the crying is purely neurological.
Yeah.
I'm not feeling upset as in emotionally upset.
No.
I might be like, I don't want to have a seizure. But no, the crying is purely just comes and happens.
Yeah.
And the tears just roll, and I don't even understand it. It is purely neurological.
And it's hard when your executive function component includes planning, anticipation, organisation, initiation, working memory, and task performance.
Did you see the video of the wardrobe? Okay, you guys saw, what did they see? They saw 40 minutes.
The hours and hours and hours.
3 hours. Or was it 4?
I think it was 4 hours, darling.
I think it was 4.
I think I was able to watch the entire... Yeah, anyway.
He was out there watching. He was back and forth.
It was a great chance to catch up on quite a few episodes, let's say, of Star Wars.
But guys, luckily for you, you didn't have to see all that. Because I'm telling you, I made it look easy.
Yeah.
4 hours possibly. But I remember at least 2 to 3.
4 hours. Yeah. Time...
I was like this afterwards.
But time's also been disappearing on us in the status. You'll commonly say...
Yeah, I blink and I go, it's 4 o'clock.
It's 4 o'clock in the afternoon already. It's like, how did that happen? I just woke up. And
where
did the day go? These are statements that you're making on a regular basis. You're not aware of time.
I hate those days.
Yeah.
It scares me.
It does.
Because it's like, what have I been doing all day? Stuck in here?
Absolutely. And I think this is a key contributor to maybe this whole sleep weird cycle thing that occurs. Because if you have no awareness, if there's no feeling of circadian rhythm, if there's no attentive and you're needing to do things, then it's suddenly going into the late wee hours because you're still wanting to function. But then you crash, and when you crash, I think you crash heavier. You're snoring more.
I do sleep deeper now.
Don't you?
I know I'm sleeping deep, yeah.
Yeah. So are there other things, and that was just a single article. There are many other articles in this space which are read over time, and we expect a deterioration between 22q. We expect...
You do. Sadly.
The dementia side of factor with early onset to be more protracted.
Get that.
Yeah.
But I wanted to say a spin-off of this that does need to be mentioned. That's anecdotal, that can't be found, or maybe it is found in some literature. I want to say and acknowledge to others and myself that a spin-off to this is we tend to pull away from everyone. Not always consciously, but we catch ourselves doing that. And I do think that's because we're not ourselves anymore, and we're worried that people will not only see that and go, she's not the person that I met, that I liked, or whatever, or, unless I go back to my normal self, which there are moments where, and dementia patients can be the same. I'm not saying I've got dementia yet, please let's not go that direction. I don't want to even entertain that right now because it's too, don't want to. But basically, dementia patients can have moments of just vivid, in the moment, I'm here, I'm who I am, I know who I am, I know who everyone else is, and then they're gone again. So basically, I just want to acknowledge that I know a spin-off is for us to pull away from our loved ones,
and I'm going to say there's two components
people around
to that.
us, but please don't feel that
Yeah.
shame.
No.
We must communicate
Sure.
to them.
But in our situation, I think there's two components to that.
Yeah.
There's the natural self-preservation pullback that you do yourself.
Yeah, to protect
But I
you as
think
well
there's a
from that emotion.
preservation, protection mechanism that I also do. I don't want you to go out too much if it's going to overexert you. I don't want you to be in a
don't put yourself,
high-risk situation if you potentially could have a seizure. You know, sometimes in the seizure videos...
even if it's just distressing.
Sure, but even sometimes in the seizure videos, you hear me talk and I'll say, look, there's been a high probability because I can work out when all of these different trigger effects are all lined up to go, well, you know what, we're in the red zone, you know, DEFCON 5, here we go.
Yeah.
This is the worst time to push ourselves even further. And the worst thing for those, we don't want to have a seizure out in public in the middle of Kmart, or it's hard enough in a car, or when you're driving.
It's not fun in the car.
No, it's not, because again, awkwardness to manage it in their way, but also just for your body and your posture and hurting yourself, it's more danger and risk.
Yes.
So I think it works both ways. You naturally pull yourself back because
but also
interactions with others.
You just feel like you're letting people down. You don't think too hard about it. That's why I'm grateful I've had this discussion with you. Yeah. And I hope you guys are learning something from this, either for yourselves,
it's just an open discussion
someone
as we do this. Yeah.
But basically, I'm glad I've been able to explain it, because if we slow things down, as much as it's hard to accept for you and for your own reasons, and for me for my own reasons, it's best.
Yeah.
And sometimes it can feel embarrassing because, you know, I used to be able to like do 6 hours of cleaning and cook a meal and do all this in one day.
Yep.
And I took great pride in that. And now I feel like I'm someone who cannot perform that.
Yeah.
So keep living, keep doing your best, and talking to people around you of your limitations.
Exactly.
That's all you can do.
Well, thank you for sharing your story with
You're
that.
welcome.
Give us a big thumbs up. If you've got comments or questions, leave them below.
Yes.
Share some space with us as we go through this period, but don't forget to subscribe, hit that notification bell, and
it's
we will
not
see
always
you
fun and
in another
games,
episode.
but I hope you
real
learned
soon.
something useful.
Indeed.
Bye.
Bye for now.